Yo, we're the Hunna, and we're hanging out with Rob, front row live. Let's go.
What's up, guys? Rob here, Front Row Live Entertainment. I'm hanging out and reunited here with the Hunna. It's been a while, pre everything, like since the last time I saw you guys, and I am loving the new music. Such a cool kind of evolution that you guys have with the new music that we've heard so far. Before we really dive in and talk about the music, you guys are currently in LA shooting music videos for upcoming tracks and for Fugazi at the moment. How different has that vibe and chemistry been like, especially now that you guys are working with a new director for these videos?
Yeah, yeah, we, it's worked out amazing for us because the director, Will, is the first guy that we had on the list to do this video. And then it went through quite a few different scenarios where we weren't sure whether we could get out here in time to actually do it. We had to drop the song. So we were looking at doing another video back in the UK for it, but, our vision for the song and what Fugazi kind of represents and the landscape for it, we just felt like we had to come out here and do it with Will. And I think the bits that we've seen back, it looks so sick. It looks exactly the vibe that we wanted, so it's been dope, yeah.
That's awesome. And I love, like I mentioned earlier, I love the new music. I love the new sound, the new style that you guys are kind of evolving into. But at the same time, I don't feel like you guys are evolving into it. I feel like this is what the sound that you guys wanted it to be. Like, I feel like you guys have honed it and found it. And I also feel like Gil is a big part of being able to do that. Jumping into the studio with Gil, which is such an incredible producer. First of all, what was it about him that drew your attention to wanting to work with him on this fourth album? And secondly, like, what was that initial process like when you guys first jumped into the studio with him?
I think it's all the artists he worked with, wasn't it? Like Jimmy Eat World, Foo Fighters, the Pixies, and he's just such a great producer. And we really wanted to work with him because all the sounds of the stuff he's done is just what we want it to be like now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty much like, guys, do you want to touch?
He was the first person that was on the list, and he was the only person that was mentioned when we had a meeting with our management team. And yeah, when we realised how notorious and amazing and long he'd been doing it, it was kind of a no-brainer, like Dan said, on the artist front and the albums he's done. And then when we met him as well, we were quite nervous because he's such a big producer, but he was so friendly, so down to earth. We got on like a house on fire. And yeah, when we first met him, we just kind of listened through to loads of tracks, like more than that was on the album. So, we had quite a lot of songs, and it was just such a nice process to kind of like hear what he thought about all of our music.
Right.
And he was he was digging it. Even his son apparently is a big fan, which was really nice to hear. And just the way he worked was like very detailed, and we like that as well. No stone unturned. Is that the right saying? I think so. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. But yeah, he just had the right process, and he wanted us to be us on the record. And one of the main things we remember him saying is, "I want to bring all of your personalities out on your instruments," and he did that.
Yeah, it was timeless as well. Like, like you said, you look at the work that he's done, and everything that he produces, it stands the test of time. Whether you listen to it now or whether it was first recorded, it's just an incredible record with so much character. And I think that is what Gil does. And there's not many people that can bring that out of artist after artist, and do it like prolifically. So that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to make a timeless rock record like the Jimmy Eat Worlds, like the Foos, and that's exactly what we think we've done. So.
Yeah. I'm privileged as well because he chose to work with us. He doesn't really do that much work anymore. He only wants to work with artists and bands who he wants to work with. Yeah. So for Gil Norton to be like, yeah, I want to work with the Hunna, it was like, no way. Like, yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
He was like Jack said, he was like, from the get-go, he was just really, nice about what we were doing and the demos we'd done, which was a big deal for us because we felt like we kind of locked ourselves away, just us three, and wrote so many songs, and we were loving it, and we were like, this is what we should be doing and what we want to do. So then for Gil to come on board and Gil to basically he going through all the demos of more songs that we had that didn't make the record, he's like, it's too hard to pick. Like there's so many songs. He's like, we've already got songs for the next record. So yeah, it was a great place to be. Yeah.
Now, the fact that he worked with notoriously with Foo Fighters, and we know how Dave Grohl is with like always wanting to do things analog, the old school way, that crisp kind of sound. Did he have you guys record that way in a sense with either some of the songs or the entire record?
Yeah, I mean, we went to a place called Vader Studios, which was kind of like a old English country house out in the countryside, beautiful spot, and the main live room was kind of a chapel that was like added onto the house. Big analog desk, and yeah, the whole vibe felt very organic and old school, and yeah, just like for me, like the kit sound that we got was what I play live, and I think it was the like first time I really felt like they wanted me to have my sound of the kit to replicate the live, and same with the guitars. Like the guitars sounded amazing just through the live amps, and everything was done how we wanted it to be, and that's what he wanted to do. So it was very like just natural coming together, and his mixing guy and assistant and like legend of a friend as well, Clint. From New Zealand came over, and he was just an absolute joy to work with as well. So the team, and we had a girl called Georgia, and then one of their assistants that they knew was called Tarrant, and he was kind enough to jump on and play bass on the whole record. So all round, just everyone was just so nice, and yeah, the sound was just really raw and live, and then obviously mixed and produced and mastered. Really like top level, yeah, for sure.
You mentioned that he allowed you to be yourselves with your instruments during this recording process. One of the things that I loved most about Fugazi is that the drums sound so much cleaner and crisper, and it's like that sound for that. It's like, I don't know, it just like really drew my attention. What did he have you do differently for this song in particular, and was this something that you've never done before?
Yeah, I mean, again, it was just kind of like letting the drums do what they do rather than like overthinking it and, you know, like over producing it, and like even just like simple things like we were using my snare for pretty much the whole record, and it wasn't like we were putting too many things on it. He was just kind of like, let's not put any moon gel, let's not put any tape on it, let's just fucking crank it, and it ended up being like a gunshot, you know. And yeah, just all around like the kit sound was just popping, and like people like Abe Cunningham from Deftones and John Otte from Limp Bizkit and Dave Grohl, Taylor Hawkins, they're Chad Smith. They're the guys that I look up to, and I think I've always gone for that American tight sort of punk rock grunge sound, and again that's his field. So yeah, I was just smiling the whole time.
I think it was one of those things. It's like there's so much attention to detail, and like it was probably it was one of the first records that we actually had quite a bit of time to be in the studio and actually make the records and not be rushing to do stuff and cutting corners sometimes. We just were allowed to just take our time and just get the right tones and everything. So, and luckily for us, Gil and Clint work so well together that for them it's almost a walk in the park, really. So, you know, yeah, you'd like lay something down, or like even on the kit stuff when me and Dan, because Jack went first on the drums, and we'd go away for a bit and let them do their thing, and then come back and hear where they were with the kit sound and the takes that was going on, and we'd come back in and it was just some raw drum takes from the first night, and we were just like, sounds fucking unbelievable already, like Jesus.
Yeah, without even like any mixing or anything. So
we were just gassed. Like as soon as you hear that, it's just like, oh my god, this is going to be insane.
Yeah.
You had a fill-in drummer. That's what it was.
I stepped up to the plate.
Daniel, for you, like, how did he allow you to kind of step out of your comfort zone, try new things on this record? And do you feel like there was any one track on this album that really like challenged you to kind of get that track down?
I feel like he was really good at pushing me into doing things which are out of my comfort zone, which I'm capable of doing, but maybe I wouldn't have thought of. Especially like the melody writings and tones, and he introduced me to like lots of really cool pedals. We used some really cool ones from like Jack White. So his what is it, the Bumblebee, is it? That one was fire for like the Bumblebee one, and we had like loads of different like reverbs and like modulator pedals as well, and it was just really, really cool to just dive in that world. And that's how I grew up. I like using pedals and amps, and like we use Kempers now for live performances, but it's just kind of nice to go back to that and create sounds and get a bit nerdy. And so yeah, it's really, really, really cool. And we had lots of guitars, didn't we, Ray? And loads of amps. So many amps. What was his one? The Matchmaker.
Yeah, we had a blues breaker. We had a twin reverb. We had orange amps. Gil was just kind of like, get me all the amps. Yeah, it was like science. Just get me all the amps, and then we'll just fuck around, like, which was cool. That's what rock music's about, So.
Experimenting.
Like amps for amps for amps. It was just like leads for days. It was just crazy. But yeah, he knew what he wanted, and his references as well. Like, he was just like, if you had this song, it'd be cool to do this, but then we could make it a bit more sharper and a bit more grittier. And it's just really, really interesting. He's a fascinating person. And for guitars, it's for me the best guitar sounds I've done to date. King.
Yeah. Ryan, did you guys come into the studio already with lyrics and songs in mind, or did you also kind of write some stuff while he was in the room?
We went with pretty much everything ready. I mean, we had pre-production with Gil before we went to properly start the record, which was, we had like 2 weeks, was it?
2 weeks.
We had like 2 weeks of being in the room with Gil and playing through all the songs, messing around with BPM changes to get the right tempos for the feel, and middle eights, working out, just tightening the screws on exactly what the base of the song was going to be. So yeah, I mean, Gil worked closely with that as well, and even lyrically, he, wanted me to write them out so that he could read them and take them in and understand where I'm coming from on what the message is here, and that's what I love about Gil as well, is like every song, the music, and it's such a simple thing, but the music, he wanted the music to, and the emotion of the music to fit what the lyrics were saying, which is it's obvious to say that, do you know what I mean? That's how it should be, but I feel like a lot of music this day, that it's lacking that thought of what's actually, what are people supposed to feel on this middle eight? Like, is this middle eight bit the explosion that it's like the emotions have got too much, it needs to go a bit crazier, or is it a moment where we need to have a little quiet moment and make the listener feel in a different kind of way, So that was, I thought, was amazing, and I think that's another great thing about this record, is that you can hear all those moments and you do feel them. Like, I think every song has such a different character, and he really brought that out. So, and I think the biggest thing was like trust as well. Like, he was very complimentary of us and how we work, and to feel that trust in us was, his confidence boosting for us. So.
Yeah, definitely.
The album, this is the 4th album, but it's also a self-titled album. So what was the reasoning behind it being a self-titled album? Is it because of the lyrics and the music, or the lyrics, or the subjects that you were talking about, or just because it was, it just felt like the right time because you kind of discovered the real sound of the Hunna?
I think that kind of was it. Like, we were thinking about, what could the record be called, and then, it's 4th record. We've done a lot. We've seen a lot. We've been to a lot of places. We've grown as people and as musicians, and I think we really had like a moment of almost clarity going into this one, and shutting out a lot of outside noise that we've had in the past, and just get back to us being in a room, making music, having fun, not taking life too seriously and stressing out about fucking what's on fucking TikTok or Instagram, or what we haven't posted, what we need to do here, just like get back to what it's about and fall in love with it again, I guess. And we definitely did that. So yeah. Sorry, I think I just went off on a tangent there.
Yeah.
You said what you wanted to say. It's
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, man.
Sorry, the 4th album self-titled. So then, sorry, it's been a long trip, people. So yeah, and then we were just like, we feel very confident in this album, and we feel like it's the album we wanted to make. It's it's like the flag in the ground for us of this is the new era of the Hunna moving forward. Yeah, and we feel good. So we were just like, we're proud to put our name on it. Let's go.
And stamp it self-titled.
Yeah, seriously. Like, how did you feel that new sound, or the sound? Let's call it the sound. Like, how did you feel like the sound made you kind of do your vocals differently, or try new things different with your vocals? Like, because it's a grungier kind of vibe. It's the BPM, the tempo, like it's different. So like, how did that affect or impact your vocals?
I think you know, like for instance, Trash, the first single that we brought out, is, you know, just a very in your face, straight away, you know, punk really, and the verses have got that hip hop vibe about it. So it kind of, I think there's moments like that where it allowed me, like Trash vocally, I've never really done anything like that on another record.
Yeah,
Like the verses have got like a kind of, you know, just a fun, almost Eminem kind of, biscuit kind of vibe. And then the chorus is rip. But even
Like
even
very
in
British.
yeah, like
way
it
it's
was super
sung.
British, super punk, and we were just kind of having fun with it. Like we were, because the song is kind of alluding to things that we've been through with the industry. So yeah, and we were just in the studio. We wrote the lyrics together in the studio.
That was just having fun, especially the verses. We were all having fun trying to rhyme the right words that it all made sense. And
Like
And then,
we were
yeah.
just there, just writing them down, and we were just like, oh my god, what like this, and we're just bouncing off each other. And it's
and
just
then
fun.
gang vocals for the money, 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 and blah, 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 and all that as well. It is something we've never done before. And the music as well, like as soon as like Dan started playing the front of the song on, like just on the guitar, we were like, hell yeah, this is gonna rip. And everyone just compliments everyone, you know. We're all on the same page. Every song's different, but every song we kind of all know what we've got to bring to the table. But it's also like experimenting and trying to find the right thing for it. And you know, a drum pattern might change or a guitar riff might change, but we always get there. You know. And I think with this album, it was worth the wait, and was actually partly a blessing for us, because that's where we really honed in on what we wanted to do, and that's why we're here.
I
Like,
think even like maybe like a few years ago on another record, like a song like Trash, or like the accent, like the real British punky accent on the chorus and stuff, and like, oh, it's fucking money, mate. Like we, like maybe I wouldn't have done it because you know we weren't. It was
the
before,
experience
like,
has made that,
but now doing these songs, it's like again we just had a newfound confidence. I think like I felt confident in what we were doing, and I was enjoying it, having fun, loving it. So it was just like there's no like just let it out, like whatever's in here, like, and there's a lot of different people in this body. You know, we've all got different characters in ourselves, you know. So it's like, yeah, for, like when we fucking go out or we're having a drink or whatever, you know, we all do crazy impressions, accents, or there's like people come out. So it's like just letting out different people within yourself, I think, which is nice. And then there's like the slower, more emotional ones, like Find a Way Out, which is completely different to Trash. And then I think just the emotion of the music, I think very quickly just kind of, I kind of know where it needs to sit, I think, vocally. So I just try and get into the emotion of it, I think, yeah.
How do you feel the songwriting has helped you be a better musician this time around for this record?
I feel like it's because we've been writing together. Like, we just kind of blocked out all the bullshit, right? And just kind of had that moment of just being us three, just doing our thing, being the best we can be. And no, because when you write songs with other people, it can be great and it can be shit, but it's quite disposable and it's rushed. And it's just like, get the job done, tick a box. Where sometimes music isn't like that, in our opinion. I think it's just enjoy it, take your time, get it right. Right, guys?
you don't know those people like I know these guys. You know, like the brotherhood is, we all know what each other likes. We all know what each other's good at, but we're pushing each other, you know. Exactly. And I think that's what it's about. And also as well, the reason why we got into this is We wanted to be proud of what we do, and we want to bring something new to the table. Like number one, and we have in the past for sure. We're proud of everything we've done, but I think this is the first time we've kind of, as a band and evolved, we've gone, holy shit, this is it. You know, we just found it together, and just listening to our favorite artists, but we kind of like rolled back the years, and we just kind of like got out the 90s and the noughties records that we grew up, that made us musicians. So I think it's like paying homage as well to the legends we looked up to. So yeah, that was kind of really nice to kind of take little influences from our favorite bands, you know. And I think they're the bands that have stood the test of time. They're still doing it now, whereas we don't really listen to much stuff that is kind of like hot for a minute, it's gone. Like we listen to shit that is everlasting, and
That's who we are.
yeah.
That's what we like. That's what we've always been about. It's almost like taking it back to basics. Like you start a band, you write together, you write in a rehearsal room, and that's what you do. And you're enjoying yourself and you're enjoying the music you're playing. And we've definitely gone back to that. And you know, so
Like nowadays in the music industry, I feel like even for bands, which is quite a sad thing, is that there's this whole thing, because music is now it's made so quickly, and it's out so quickly, and then it's done, and then there's something else that's made so quickly, you know. So it's
like the life of the artist.
so it's like
There's no time to breathe, is there, with it? Like
and then and for a band, it's like we started off in rehearsal rooms, jamming together and putting songs together like we did with Gil in pre-prod, whereas over the years it's kind of got into the thing where even bands, it's like, oh, the management company or whatever, it's like, oh, there's this person over here, they've had this release and this release, which is, you know, cool, impressive, and we like working with other writers that gel with us. If they gel, cool. Like we have friends that we would work with, you know, but you go and then you're just sat in a room with this person that you've never met for a day, and you
be gold.
you got to finish at like 5-6 o'clock, so you've got to like come up with this amazing hit song that's gonna go on the radio and blow up in a day, and then you get to the point where it's like, oh, should it be this lyric or this lyric, and then you kind of pencil something in just so it's there. So and then, oh, we'll come back to it. It's like, that's not how it should be. Like we should just be in a rehearsal room taking our time on it to craft it.
And you listen back to it and you can hear it's rushed, or you can hear it's half complete, or you can hear it's half not us. And we're super kind of like, we're done with that bullshit. Like if it doesn't sound, if it's not come from us, it's just not, it's not worth it.
Like you've got a fucking we could go to people and we can make great songs, no doubt, but we got to the point where it's like, yeah, it's a great song, but I'm still not in love with it. So then when we stopped that and we came into the room just us three again, it was like everything, the whole thing, I was like, I love it. I absolutely love, like Trash. There was no, as soon as we started doing it, it only took like 2 hours to have the instrumental basically, and it was like, this is it. This is what we've been looking for.
That's the thing with songs like Trash. If you did that in one of those kind of sessions, not stereotyping all sessions, but in they calculate their time as that's not worth it, because they want their time is money, you know, and it's calculated, and it's formulated, and they want something from that session. And that's kind of a thing as well, as some of the sessions we have had in the past, you're kind of battling that. So it just doesn't, it really didn't work with us, did it? It's like, we want to write a good song, but they're like, we want to write a fucking song they want to play on the radio. Do you know what I mean? And we don't care about that. We just want to write a good song. So it just never worked, did it, really?
It was never relaxed. Or we're not fully relaxed. Like when we just sit up, we were sitting up at mine, and like, if we didn't finish the song, or we couldn't find the right lyrics, or we couldn't find the right like end of the song, we were like, well, just come back tomorrow. You know, and I think that you can't rush greatness. Let's go.
Some people are either, it's like, are you here, like you can have sessions that they're here for the music and they're here for the band, and some people you come in, they're there for the check. You know?
Exactly. And we're there for the respect.
I love that. Love that. Well, I'm excited for this album. I'm excited for everyone to hear it, and I'm happy that you guys are able to, you know, stay true to yourselves. Like you know, every once in a while you dive into a different direction to try things out, but like the fact that you were able to come back to who the Hunna really is, and you're proving it with this album, like super excited about that. So thanks, guys, for reuniting with me. You guys be sure to check out the Hunna self-titled album. It's out October 28th. And thanks for watching here on Front Row Live.